this video, we'll look at how to create a preface and the different display options that are available. A preface is content that you can associate with multiple questions. For example, you might want to ask several questions about a reading passage, a chart, a map, or a table. There are two different ways a preface can be displayed. It can be displayed continuously, in other words, above each question associated with it, or it can be displayed as a separate item that students can refer back to as needed. Let's begin by creating a preface that will be displayed above each question. I have some questions written already. I'm going to create a preface that contains a poem and associate it to these questions. We could also create the preface first and write the questions later. To create a preface, select the Set or Test menu and then select Prefaces. For this example, I'm using a test so we can preview the different display options. The Prefaces dialog box opens. This dialog box shows all the prefaces that are available for the question set or test that you're editing. Let's click New to create a preface. In the Preface dialog box, you'll notice that we have all the same word processing features that we have when writing a question. For this example, I'm going to insert a passage from Edgar Allan Poe's The Raven. I'll start by giving the preface a title. Next, I'll add the text of the preface. I'll leave the display option set to continuous, which means the preface will display above each question when it's used in an online test. Then I'll click OK. After I've created the preface, it's available for use with any of the questions in this test. So let's add this preface to a question. Select the pencil icon next to the question to edit it. In the Question dialog box, click the Info tab. On the Info tab, you can click the Preface button to create a new preface, or select an existing preface from the drop-down list. Since we've already created our preface, we can select it from the list and click OK. After we click OK, the preface appears in the test above the question. We can follow the same steps to associate the preface with another question. Now let's preview the test and see how a continuous preface appears. Questions 1 and 2 share the same preface. If we move back and forth between these two questions, the preface remains at the top. For short prefaces, it may be okay to have them display this way, but for longer reading passages or for complicated information, you may want the preface to display as a separate item that students can refer to as needed. Let's see what this preface looks like when it's displayed as a separate item. We'll start by clicking the pencil icon for the preface, and then we'll select Edit. Next, we'll change the display option to Separate Item and click OK. Nothing looks different in the editor pane, but let's preview the test and see what's changed. When a preface is set to display as a separate item, the title of the preface shows in the progress pane, and the questions associated with it are listed under the title. You can see that questions 1 and 2 go with the preface, but question 3 does not. With the preface as a separate item, the student can read the questions and jump back to the preface as needed. This is especially helpful for longer reading passages.